Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're moving way beyond just calling the ground beneath our feet mundane dirt. No, we are diving into the secret life of soil. So, instead of picturing the Earth as this static, lifeless pile of dust, I want you to think of it as a highly complex, super vibrant, and structured layer cake. Honestly, once you see just how dynamic the ground actually is, you'll literally never look at a garden, a farm, or even a forest floor the same way again. Let's get into it.
To help guide us today, we're going to use a really simple, kind of catchy little framework: soil, toil, and spoil. First up, we'll figure out exactly what this living soil actually is, right? Then we'll uncover the incredibly hard work, the toil, that an invisible army of microscopic heroes does every single day just to bake our layer cake. And finally, we'll wrap up with the spoil, looking at why we absolutely must remain fiercely loyal to the Earth to protect it from degradation and ruin. So here's how we're going to slice into things today. 1. The Earth's living skin. 2. Sand, silt, clay, and loam. 3. The actual soil layer cake. 4. Decomposers doing the toil. And 5. Protecting soil from spoil. Section 1. The Earth's living skin, a global resource. It's absolutely crucial to understand right from the jump that soil isn't just dead rock. It's quite literally the living skin of our planet, a dynamic mixture that's vital for filtering our drinking water, supporting incredibly diverse ecosystems, and really sustaining all life as we know it. But, here's a pretty sobering realization. Only 25% of our entire planet's surface is actually made of soil. That's it. The remaining 75%? That's entirely covered by deep oceans, freezing ice caps, and solid, unyielding rock. When you really think about it that way, it highlights just how fragile our existence is. Literally every crop we grow, every forest that breathes, it all relies on just one slim quarter of the globe.
Now, that being said, that 25% still represents a massive, tangible volume. We're talking about roughly 7.6 billion acres of soil globally. 7.6 billion. Imagine all of that acting not just as a foundation for our agriculture, but as a colossal natural sponge. It's constantly soaking up water, housing countless insect ecosystems, and absolutely crucially, trapping immense amounts of carbon to regulate our entire global climate in the process. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
So, what's actually in this life-giving mixture? Well, soil requires 6 distinct ingredients to function, and it's really all about how they interact. First, you've got your structural minerals, your sand, gravel, silts, and clays. But rock alone isn't going to cut it. You also need dead organic material to provide raw nutrients, and living organisms to act as the chefs breaking it all down. Throw in water and tiny pockets of air to fill the gaps, and suddenly the whole system can breathe and flow. It's honestly a perfect marriage of the living and the non-living. Moving on to Section 2, sand, silt, clay, and loam, the textures. Now that we know the ingredients, we need to quickly zoom in on how they actually feel and function, which is dictated entirely by the size and organization of those tiny mineral particles we just talked about.
I want you to imagine holding these different elements in your hand. Sand is loose and gritty, right? Water falls right through it almost instantly. That makes it an ideal, dry environment for something tough, like a cactus. But on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, imagine dense clay. It's smooth, heavy, and really sticky. It traps water incredibly tightly, which creates the perfect flooded conditions for wetlands or rice paddies. And then, sitting right there in the middle, you have silt. It's soft and powdery, holding on to just enough moisture along a riverbank after a heavy rain.
But what if you're just trying to grow some nice tomatoes in your backyard? Well, then you're searching for the absolute Goldilocks of dirt, loam. Loam is this magical, balanced mixture of sand, silt, and clay. It allows excess water to drain away so your roots don't just sit there and rot, while still retaining just enough moisture and nutrients to keep your plants happy and fed. It is, for sure, the holy grail for productive farming and everyday gardening.
All right, Section 3, the soil layer cake, diving into the horizons. Let's take all these ingredients and textures we just covered and look at how the Earth physically stacks them up over thousands of years of complex weathering and decay.
Picture this. You're following a single drop of rainwater straight down into the Earth. First, it hits the O horizon. That's the crunchy layer of fallen leaves and surface twigs. Next, it sinks into the A horizon. This right here is our vital topsoil, and it's packed with humus. Now actually scratch that. It's not the chickpea dip, it's spelled H-U-M-U-S. It's the incredibly rich, dark, decayed plant matter that fuels new life. Then, as the water pushes deeper into the E horizon, it kind of acts like water in a coffee maker, washing out or leaching the minerals downward. Those washed out minerals eventually collect and settle in the B horizon, which is our dense subsoil. Beneath that, you hit the sea horizon, full of chunky, broken rock, until we finally hit literal rock bottom, the solid D-horizon bedrock.
And here's a really great practical hack for the next time you're out hiking or digging around in the garden. The color of the earth actually gives you an instant health check. If you dig down and see red or yellow soil, you're looking at a very high iron content. Essentially, the soil is rusting. Pretty cool, right? But if you turn over a spade of dark black or deep brown earth, you have struck organic gold. That dark color means it's highly fertile and absolutely packed with life-giving nutrients.
Section 4. Decomposers doing the toil. The bakers. So, we've seen the ingredients, the textures, and the layers. Now we have to meet the workforce, the earthworms, the beetles, and the microscopic heroes doing the relentless, exhausting work to actually build that dark topsoil.
You can really think of this ongoing cycle as this high-stakes natural drama. In autumn, sunlight drops, leaves fall, and plants begin to starve. Then winter arrives with freezing temperatures, causing plant life to wither and die. But then, boom, you get the explosive awakening of spring. Hungry decomposers crawl out to ravenously consume all that dead, rotting matter, and in doing so, they trigger the final act, renewal. They process all that waste into fresh humus, creating the exact perfect fuel a brand new seedling needs to sprout. It is literally the ultimate recycling system.
There's this beautiful, poetic truth to the whole process. Down in the dirt, life goes on, even when the sun is gone. But it's also grounded in a completely mind-blowing scientific fact. Get this. If you scoop up just a single, healthy handful of that dark soil, the microscopic organisms toiling inside that one clump actually outnumber every single human being alive on Earth. No way, right? Billions of creatures, all working together in a silent song where life begins. Just incredible.
Which brings us to Section 5, protecting soil from spoil, conservation. Finally, we have to talk about the very real threats to this masterpiece. We need to address the spoil, the severe environmental degradation currently threatening our planet's most life-giving resource.
The actual mechanics of how we're ruining the earth are, frankly, truly alarming. Take poor agricultural practices, like plowing a tractor straight down a hill. Doing that essentially creates a dirt water slide. It allows the rain to just rip away uniform sheets of topsoil or carve deep, ugly gullies. Wind can strip away dry earth, while toxic chemicals poison the very decomposers we literally just learned we rely on. But honestly, the most terrifying threat is desertification. When we overfarm and dry out the land, it stops acting as a carbon sponge. Instead, it releases all that trapped carbon dioxide right back into the atmosphere, directly accelerating global climate change. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. There are highly actionable, genuinely hopeful solutions to give our planet a much-needed protective hug. For example, crop rotation ensures farmers aren't exhausting the exact same nutrients year after year. Composting lets us manually feed our microscopic bakers with old plant matter. And utilizing cover crops, that means planting specific vegetation not to harvest, but simply so their deep roots can act as living anchors, physically holding the earth in place against tearing winds and heavy rains. It's brilliant.
Our ecosystem's greatest hidden treasure chest really isn't far away at all. It's quite literally right beneath our feet, humming with billions of unseen lives working together in perfect harmony. So, I want to leave you with this to ponder. Will you stay loyal to the soil, respect the toil, and help prevent the Earth's living skin from spoil? What small part are you going to play in keeping our layer cake alive? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.